All right. We ready?
Yep.
Yeah. Talk about video games.
Yeah, now that I'm depressed.
You guys ready to have some fun?
Interactive entertainment.
I miss when we were talking about collective soul.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Pursuing Pixels. This is episode number 67, and my name's Kevin Portelli, and I'm here tonight with Randall Nolery.
Hey, everybody.
And John Hines.
Hello, hello.
And we are back again to talk about some video games as always, although it's we can't really keep focused on the video games before we get started on the recording here, but
36 minutes of despair on my end.
Always a good warm-up, yeah.
I just hit 38, so I got a couple extra on you, John. But yeah, we decided to lighten up the mood and talk a little video games. And so I have been playing. Actually, it's been a little while since I played this game, to be honest. And you know, on this podcast here, we obviously love our retro games.
A little bit.
Whenever I see like a retro inspired thing, it always kind of catches my eye. Mm-hmm. And you know, we've seen like the kind of rebirth of like the kind of NES 8-bit pixel art, and now we're kind of seeing some more like 16-bit or even like 32-bit style games coming out.
Yeah. And
then we've seen some Game Boy games come out that we've been hit or miss on. I know Dogger Eye we talked about.
Yeah.
That you and I were both pretty pumped on.
Yeah.
But now I've started to see a couple of games come out that are going for that Game Boy Color aesthetic.
Yes.
Which is really, really cool. Like, I mean, it's still very Game Boy, but it's like got the washed out color palettes kind of.
And like heavy scan line type. Game Boy Color has a very specific look.
Well, this doesn't, at least this particular game that I'm going to talk about, which I guess I'll just say, it's called Akurra. It's Akurra. And it's like a top-down puzzle game, and the reason that this game caught my eye is that the first game that it cited as like an inspiration was Chip's Challenge.
Yes.
It's just like, it is on. And then they went on to mention Star Tropics, Adventures of Lolo, and like stuff like that. So like if you're if you're familiar with stuff like Adventures of Lolo or Chip's Challenge or really anything that's just kind of top-down, Zelda style, but
boxes.
like puzzle solving. But the thing with this game, so like the demo, this is a game that's not actually out yet, but the demo of like the first island is available, and it seems like there's going to be multiple islands, kind of Star Tropics style, which I know isn't the most well-known original Nintendo game.
That's people's
or
fault,
NES
though.
game.
That game's sweet.
That game is amazing, and even the sequel, I still need to play more of that. Zoda's Revenge, that really, really fun. The little bit I've played of it.
Yeah. Star Tropics is on the Nintendo Switch Online, is though, right?
Yes.
I know it's on
the
NES Classic.
I think it is.
I'm almost positive that it is. And if you haven't played it, it's awesome. Both games, Zoda's Revenge, the second game, the sequel, and then just the original Star Tropics. And it's one of the few NES games that only came out in North America.
Yep.
Like it was I think it might have even been developed in Japan, but for North America specifically.
Mike Jones.
I could be wrong about that, but I know it definitely only came out here.
Yep.
But anyways, not to get too sidetracked on Star Tropics. This game, the thing that's really cool, so like a lot of those games like Adventures of Lolo or these top-down puzzle games are kind of single screen in nature in most cases, where you're just kind of progressing through a series of challenges. This game seems to be a little bit more open world, where you're kind of you land on this island, and then there's clearly like many paths you can take, and there's many puzzles on each individual screen. Like it still does scroll one screen at a time, like Zelda style, but like as you're exploring around, and you can even like on the island, like I eventually unlocked like this giant turtle, and like was able to ride that turtle to like smaller islands and like land on other beaches and explore puzzles over there. So like it has, and then again, like because it is like in these larger open settings, you are able to like really kind of like have certain keys that you have to complete a certain series of challenges. And one of the things that's really nice about this game too is, at least for the best of my knowledge and from everything I saw, it's like entirely non-violent. There's no enemies, there's nothing to kill. Like it's all puzzle solving. Even like I got to like the top of this like mountain or like peak or something on the island, and it seemed like there was like this boss up there. Yeah. But it was just like chilling. It was like maybe I needed to solve. Yeah, maybe I needed to like solve a puzzle or something to activate some kind of sequence maybe, but it still seemed like whatever I needed to do there was puzzle oriented and not like, oh, I got to battle.
Yeah.
Because you really are just pushing things around or maybe going through a teleporter or hitting a switch or activating a certain, there's kind of obvious stuff, but they've definitely I didn't entirely finish the demo, but I probably played like 45 minutes. I did one of those 15 minutes a game videos for the demo, and I eventually was just like, that by now I already know I want to play this game, and I saw that it hit its Kickstarter goal or whatever stretch goal it needed to hit to be released on Nintendo Switch.
Nice.
So I believe it is going to be coming to Nintendo Switch, and I'm really excited for this game. Like, again, I don't really play a ton of demos, but just digging around on Itch.io, it popped up on like the homepage, and I was like, oh, free demo, Game Boy Color inspired,
yes,
Chips
sir.
Challenge and Star Tropics.
Yes, sir.
Count me in. I need to check this game out. And it has like a really, just those quality of life improvements, like you can hold down a button to rewind your last move that you did.
Nice.
And just little stuff like that. And the puzzles, even in this first island, are really clever. Like I really appreciated how the things kind of like came together and they were layered on top of one another, where you had to kind of like solve one part of the puzzle and then explore a little more on the island. Not necessarily find a new thing unless it was maybe a key to access another area, but like, yeah, I just really appreciated like how intricate everything was put together. It really had a lot of purpose to it.
Nice.
And again, that Game Boy Color aesthetic.
Oh yeah.
Who knew I was such a sucker for it? But man,
we didn't get enough
really,
Game Boy Color games. Game Boy Color was only around for like 2 or 3 years, and I feel like it should have been longer, but it wasn't.
Yeah. It was just kind of like a little stopgap.
It was.
between that and the Game Boy Advance. Like, we're not quite ready.
Say, well, it's 1998. We should probably have something in color for our portable system.
Yeah,
so.
we do have 3D console games.
Color in quotation marks, because even then it was like really just swapping that 4-color palette. Like,
yeah,
they sold it on that like Metroid 2, where they like actually developed like specific like palettes for that game.
Did.
And then every other game was like, here's 4.
Yeah, because you had that little icon in the corner. It's like, ooh, it's Game Boy Color compatible. Put it in there, you're going to get custom palette.
And then there was like differences between like if it was like a black cartridge or if it was like the clear kind of translucent. Like I know they had like more features on those cartridges.
Yeah.
Because some of those games did look pretty good. Those Game Boy Color games, like Link's Awakening, the DX version or whatever.
Yeah.
That game looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Kirby's Tilt and Tumble.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pokemon trading card game. That was also a good Game Boy Color game.
Yeah. I don't know if I played much of that on the actual Game Boy.
Yeah.
Or Game Boy Color. But yeah, I didn't know I really even had such like strong nostalgic feelings for the Game Boy Color, and maybe it's just because there hasn't been that like
Resurgence,
indie retro revival in that field. But like just seeing it in widescreen on my huge TV, well, not huge TV, but big TV,
a lot bigger than that,
not on a tiny little Game Boy screen.
Yeah.
It was like it was really, really cool, and I'm 100% am buying this game when it comes out on Switch. Like I'm super pumped. So definitely check out the demo for Akurra, or just check out the video if you just want to maybe take a little sneak peek and dip into it on your own time.
Nice.
But I know, Randall, we skipped a week since you've talked a little Monster Boy action, but I know you've still been sinking some time into that.
Serious time. So
nice.
Monster Boy in the Cursed Kingdom.
I need to play some.
Oh yeah. Oh man. So I talked a couple weeks ago about Monster Boy in the Cursed Kingdom and kind of how, I said I was going to keep playing it, and, I was a few hours in. I had the pig and the snake characters. It's kind of a very retro styled still, but beautiful looking kind of Metroidvania game. But I stayed hooked on this game, and I am so into it now. Like, I am totally going to see this through. I'll say after the pig and snake, you get the frog character, and the frog character just opens this game up like crazy.
Yes.
It offers so many mobility options because he's like a faster upright character than the frog or the snake are. You can give him like fast boots, but more importantly, in levels, you'll as you're going through as the snake and the pig, you see these kind of like gymnastic rings that are kind of hanging around in different places. And you're like, I wonder what that's about. That'll probably be like for something in the future because I can't interact with them now. Mm-hmm. It's for the frog. he sticks his tongue on those, and then he starts swinging back and forth.
Nice. A little grapple hook.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. I know. So, like, and I'm such a big sucker for a grapple hook, always in any game. So I'm like, yes, give me this. So that immediately opened up, like, whipping around the levels in these, like, individual level scenes so much faster and finding all these secrets in areas that I'd already been in, which I also love. And yeah, like, he has his own sword and stuff too, and he's just a fun character to play as in his own right throughout this game. And it just, like, it opened up so many possibilities to what this game is. And kind of like I was saying a couple of weeks ago with the pig and the snake alone, there were a lot of like levels or these kind of single scene scenarios where you kind of have to switch between these different character capabilities where, you know, you sniff first as the pig to open up a secret switch. You hit the switch, you flip over to the snake so you can kind of crawl up a wall, which the pig can't do, to get to some area in a certain amount of time. They keep compounding that with these puzzles where then there's also the frog, because of his ability to, like, grapple on those gymnastic rings and jump up in the air. He can also kind of grab things in his mouth to take to other areas. Like these blocks that you can jump on, you can kind of move them around to where you need to get into other areas that were inaccessible to you. So, like, it just so much opened up once that happened. And I was right on the verge of that, because basically after every boss battle, you get one of these power orbs that allow you the next creature unlock. And I was, like, right on the verge of that the last time we talked for the frog. I just hadn't got there yet. And I'm like, oh God, like, everything just opened up in this game. Like, I was already a fan of it. Now I'm like, maybe this is the best Monster Boy or Wonder Boy game. Like,
wow.
As I'm
and
playing
that's saying something.
Yeah. I'm really into it.
Yeah, the clips you've been posting have all looked really cool. Like, every time I see them, I'm just like, fuck, I got to boot that game up. I got to pop it in.
Yes, and I purposely have not uploaded any clips yet. I will by the time folks hear this, of the frog now, too, and the lion. So I quickly ripped through the frog's kind of main set of areas in the dungeon for the frog to unlock the next overall gem, which was for the lion. And the lion can kind of do a Wario Land kind of break through the blocks move where he does, like, a charge dash, which
like
is super
shoulder
fun
check.
too. Yeah. And he can do that charge dash over the top of water, like he skims across the top of water too. Yeah. So they keep, like, layering on these things in a puzzle way too, where, like, you have to use him first to break through blocks that you couldn't with any other character. You know, you go through that area, you might sniff for something, get an unlock. Oh, you see one of those rings up above that you can also do with the frog. And now you need to switch to the snake too, because there's a small hole. There's just, like, I love the way they put this game together. And it's still very true to what they did in those retro games. They just modernized it in a way and they made it beautiful, and I'm just loving it.
Yeah, the clip that 100% sold me that you posted was the one where you were fighting like a frog boss battle, like the giant frog, where maybe you unlock the ability after this. I don't know.
Yeah,
but, like, it like swallows you up, and then there's, like, a little, like, platforming section, like, inside of the frog,
inside,
and you were, like, attacking its heart or something. And I was just like, oh hell yeah, this looks so cool.
Yep. And it forces you inside that, you know, boss, inside of him, to flip between a couple of different character types to get to the top, which is just...
Yeah, there was, like, a puzzle platform challenge inside of the boss, which was really cool.
Nice.
Yep. And, like, on top of all of that, there are these secret power gems that you also collect, because you're also getting equipment. So you're getting coins when you defeat enemies. Those coins you can use to... You know, you can buy hearts to regain your health and you know, the basic stuff that way. But what you really want to do is build up enough coins to buy equipment that you can equip. And certain characters can equip different equipment. And then on top of that, you get these power gems that you're finding. If you find enough secrets, you can equip power gems in your equipment for secret abilities. One of which allows you to kind of glide with your boots, so kind of like a slow float down. Another one that's boots, it allows you to kind of do a fast walk where, you know, that ups the speed of like your frog and lion characters, which has also been huge, especially because a lot of these puzzles are like timing based. So yeah, like that adds just an extra element where you have to choose which of your power gems you want to use and which equipment that you're unlocking. And, you know, so there's just like that extra kind of meta layer that I love too in the equipment management stuff of this whole game. And yeah, there's just layers that keep pulling back as I'm going through it that I didn't think were going to be there as I played this. I'm like, oh, they're just giving me another, you know, Wonder Boy or Monster World type of game, and that's going to be cool because it's very pretty and it's widescreen. It's way more than that to me. Like, I'm loving it.
I will definitely, maybe not next episode, but I will follow up on this game at some point because you've sold me 100%. Well, you didn't even have to because I already have it. But I'm sold to actually start it up because I need to try this game out. It looks so awesome.
Honestly, do so, awesome. and I'll talk about it all over again with you. I'm very passionate about this game.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I'll start that up soon, but I got to get to my resolution game eventually.
yeah, that's fair.
But no, I really want to play some Monster Boy. But I'm glad you're still enjoying it.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah. John, I know that we've been kind of leaving you out of this discussion here so far.
That's fine.
So I know you've been spending a lot of time with a bunch of different Picross games on Nintendo Switch. Nice. So what have you been putting time into this week?
Yeah, the Picross S series on Switch was recently put on sale. So I picked up all the titles that I didn't own already in that. Picross
Are there
is
like 6 of them? Like
there's,
at least?
There's only 3 so far on the Switch. In the specific Picross S series.
Sure.
Because I did look up because I wanted to see, because these have all been kind of made in-house for Nintendo. They've been made by Jupiter.
Yeah.
And Jupiter has previously, they worked on the Mario Picross and the Super Mario Picross, as well as my personal favorite of the Pokemon Picross, which was a free-to-play Picross title on the 3DS. And introduced a lot of really cool, interesting mechanics in terms of like hints or like strategic, like each Pokemon had like a specific ability that would like, oh, this one you can use their power to reveal like a cross section or like a 4x4 grid. And the ones in Pokemon Picross were really difficult to because they were massive ones. Like, you know, in Picross, like the beginner stages are usually 5x5 grids, right? And that's a good way to introduce you to Picross as a puzzle, because what it is it's a game where you are given a grid of a certain size, and there are numbers given on the X and Y axis, and those numbers are separated and non-contiguous. So if you have a row that says 1, 2, 1, there will be a single block, there will be 2 blocks next to each other and another single block, but those individual block like clusters will not be touching each other. So there will be an indeterminate amount of space in between them. And the puzzle is based on you like figuring out, okay, how much like space is actually given between those, or how much like is filled in. And it's a difficult one to puzzle type to describe without having it in front of you.
Right. Yeah, like I feel like this might not quite work, and I haven't played much Picross, but I kind of feel like it's like sort of, I mean, it's similar to Sudoku, kind of.
Yes.
But with pictures instead of
numbers, correct.
Numbers, yeah. But you are still using numbers, obviously, like you said already.
Right. So yeah, I do think it like at least activates the same parts of my brain that when I'm solving a Sudoku, like I'm thinking about space in a way, or like fitting numbers or in like actual physical objects in a specific like X and Y axis. But the Pokemon Picross series like was what got me into it, because I like really engaged me in a way that was more than just like a, I don't know, standard Picross or nonogram is what the actual puzzle is called. But since the original, like when the Switch first came out and they were saying they were making a new Picross game for it, and like Picross S came out, I was a little underwhelmed. It didn't really have, the same depth that some of their, licensed games do, because they're trying to draw people in, so they have a little bit flashier things. Like Picross S, the original one, was just a bare bones Picross game. And it scratched an itch for me. I enjoyed it. But once I picked up the rest of the games because they were on sale so far, I picked up 2, which added, a couple more modes where, you have different like variable sizes within a larger picture. And that was fun. But it wasn't until I started playing Picross S3 that they introduced a color mode, which has mechanics that are, I don't know, I don't want to say like radically different, because it's still a Picross game. It's not like it's not doing something groundbreaking, but I think the added layer of like, thinking about things in color, which you are typically thinking about a Picross game in terms of like positive and negative space. So like when you see 2 numbers next to each other, you think, okay, these are like distant. But once you have like different colors in like play, then you're looking at it and you're like, okay, well, those can still technically be next to each other. So then that you have to separate the way that you approach the puzzle, then the way that's like kind of intrinsic to you. If you've played like Picross games, like
that sounds kind of cool, and very hard.
It was really hard to like initially play, and that because I had to kind of unlearn the way that I like, because I've played so many Picross games at this point, that a lot of it is second nature to me. So like actively throwing a wrench in that felt really good, and I really enjoyed that. But like I've always kind of been like hungry for an innovation on the Picross series, because at some point you are kind of just like, playing the same kind of puzzle over and over again. It's just like,
it's almost like it feels like similar to, not in gameplay or whatever, but like just like doing a daily crossword puzzle or something. Like kind of that type of mentality of just like, I'm just keeping my brain active.
And you're going, not so much going through the motions, but it is, very routine, and it becomes.
It's not like you make some image and at the end it's like, holy shit, look at this piece of art. It's just like, oh, there's a pixel duck.
Exactly.
Kind of looks like
3D
a duck.
was awesome.
Because I got
what's that? Oh, 3Ds. Now that sounds crazy too. That sounds like it could get very difficult.
Was like, one of those games that really actually did innovate on.
Love it.
Yeah.
And like, just adding an extra dimension to it really just it was such a great idea.
Wonderful
was that on
game.
3DS as well?
The second one was on 3DS, I want to say, right? Picross,
I think so, yeah.
3D 2, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, sorry to put you guys on.
But that's exactly like but I've always been waiting for a game to actually innovate on it. Like I remember when I first saw an ad for PictoQuest, and like I picked it up specifically like for this podcast. I was like, oh, I will jump at the chance to play another Picross game and like talk about it on the podcast. But to be honest, like that one didn't, like, it was sold as like, oh, this is an RPG where, enemies are going to be attacking you and you need to be filling in correct like rows and columns in order to damage enemies, and that's how you would progress through a thing. But like in all actuality, all it really did was just add a timer to it. Like the attacks and that enemies were doing to you and the attacks that you were doing to enemies were pretty much like automatic. Like there wasn't much control. It wasn't like you were actively participating in a battle. And you were given items that could, freeze enemies and still like, but even then and again, maybe it's just because I've played like hundreds and hundreds of Picross things. Like I was never in any danger. I always like immediately like I was killing enemies before they even got a chance to like attack me sometimes.
That's awesome.
So like it was only really when I was facing bosses, and even bosses weren't that difficult. Like I like, but at the same time, I didn't want to like, I don't know, like discourage people from like attempting it, because I thought it was a really good idea. And I think like, maybe someone who hasn't played like hundreds of hours of Picross would find it to be like a compelling like wrinkle to add to the game.
A little more engaging, yeah.
Right. But like for me personally, it was a little underwhelming, but I still want more. Like, I think it's a really fun like system to work with and work around. So actually I kind of brought it up on this podcast because I want to hold myself to it. Like I picked up Murder by Numbers, which is sort of a visual novel that incorporates Picross as the like puzzle gameplay aspect of it. And I picked it up as soon as it came out and I haven't touched it. So I think that this
sounds like me.
A great way to, kind of hold myself responsible and actually put some time into it. And I'm looking forward to, playing a game that I bought with the intention of enjoying.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, that's one of my favorite things since we started this podcast is like, holding myself accountable and like making myself play games all the time.
For real.
So,
I want to hear about that game though. I've been very interested in that game.
Yeah. Because doesn't it have a little bit of like Ace Attorney vibes, like Phoenix Wright?
Yeah,
love it.
It's very
Picross.
Like, it's a mystery game. So you're in addition to, I think you are solving Picross puzzles to gather clues.
Nice.
Okay, maybe even a little Professor Layton vibes or something.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. So I'm
awesome.
very excited for that one.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. So hopefully we'll hear about that soon-ish. But one more game and one more demo, I guess, that I should, or that I wanted to mention before we wrapped up tonight was a game called emuurom. And I'm just going to spell this out. This is emuurom.
Okay.
And this is a game, I was familiar with the Pico-8, like fantasy console. I was not familiar with the TIC-80 fantasy console, which I believe is just tiny computer is what it stands for.
Is that the voxel-based one?
It's all 2D. Like it feels very similar to Pico 8, but it feels more like inspired by like Commodore maybe.
Okay.
Like Commodore 64 type stuff. Like I never grew up playing that stuff, so that's all just like a vague reference, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, the reason I wanted to bring this up is not only because it's yet another demo for a game that isn't out yet, but it's also another game that's, to the best of my knowledge, entirely non-violent. And the game just starts out, it's like a giant 2D Metroidvania world, although the demo's, obviously a little bit smaller. And the Metroid influence is heavy in the sense that you do get a scanner eventually.
All right.
That you're able to scan. Like, you're able to scan everything in the world to the point where you actually
I grow more powerful each day.
And you actually need to scan, John, it's not like you just get to scan the one fish that then covers all the fish of the same type. You have to scan every individual fish and every mushroom and every plant. But there's like, the game has like almost no, like there is a little bit of text and stuff, but like it just has that sense of adventure. Like there's like these mushrooms that you can bounce off of. And at first I was like, I can't bounce high enough off of them. And I was trying to like time my jump, like, oh, I need to trampoline off this. And like, no, that wasn't working. And like, it actually was like, I needed to fall from a higher height and like have more momentum to bounce higher off of it. So like I had to like kind of maneuver my way around and explore a little more and get like higher up. And this is another game, being that it is kind of made for like this fantasy retro console or whatever, or platform. It is like, even though it's Metroidvania, it is like one screen at a time, you know, as you're scrolling around, but really smoothly. And I love the art style. Like when you use this scanner, it's all 2D, like, but it like this scanner has this like yellow and red beams that shoot out of it. And like, they kind of like, they look like they're spinning almost in 3D. They look so cool.
That's cool.
And you can see, just like in Metroid, you can kind of see like openings in the wall. Oh, here's a clear like open path. And here's like I don't know, but just some of the puzzles and whatnot, like everything is very animal based and like plant life based and whatever. But like there'll be like these platforming challenges where like you have to get over here, but like you'll have to either touch or scan the bird with a bird or whatever with your scanner. And then as soon as you like activate it, it'll start flying across the screen, and then you can jump on its back and ride it across the screen, and you'll have to like kind of use all the different like animals and whatnot that are scattered throughout the level, or the mushrooms that you can bounce off of. And again, this was just like a short demo. I did another video for this one too. But probably only played like a half hour or so, didn't even finish the demo, and was just kind of like, yep, I'm sold on this game. And it's just like, it's got great music, like a killer chiptune soundtrack. It's just one song, but again, this is a game that's still in development. I think the developer just posted a GIF today. I think their name is Borbware. I'll have links in the episode description. But they just posted like a GIF of like all of the world development they've done over like the last 2 months.
Nice.
And it looked massive, like well beyond anything I saw in the demo.
Awesome.
So I'm just really excited, like just the way the menus pop up, and you can clearly see like there's different, like basically in the demo there's just like one biome, almost like in Akurra, like you just have that one island that you're able to access in the demo. It's like you're only able to really see this one biome, but clearly like when you scan one of these birds, it's like you found 5 of 6 in this biome, but maybe there's more in a different biome. Like that, I don't know, just everything about it. Like it, again, even though I don't have like, I never played many retro PC games at all, really, other than like Oregon Trail and stuff like that on the computer at school.
Yeah.
And like SimCity maybe, and Number Munchers.
Yes,
but like I don't have a ton of nostalgia for that era on the PC, but like this game, like it's so good at like recreating that nostalgia that it like manifests itself in me, even though I don't actually have the nostalgia, you know?
That's cool. That means it's really doing a good job.
Yes. This game, like I could not be more excited for this one. Like I was kind of like, when I originally downloaded it, I actually didn't realize it was a demo. So like once I realized, I was like, man, I'm kind of bummed, because like I thought this was the game. But like also, again, having seen that post today earlier from the developer, like seeing how much bigger this game has gotten since I checked it out is just like, holy crap. But this demo definitely gives a great feel, and leaves enough, I think, again, based on pretty much nothing other than a tweet. But like, it seems like this game is going to offer a lot more than what is just, on display in the demo.
Love it.
So I highly recommend both Akurra and emuurom. I downloaded the demos for these on itch.io.
Yeah.
So we'll have links in the episode description for those as always, because I can't recommend checking these out enough. Especially if you do like, I guess there's quite a few games these days that come out that are non-violent, but not many where you're like in direct control of a character.
Yeah,
that is not like killing enemies in some way.
Mechanics.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's nice to see people exploring, like, how can we make gameplay that doesn't involve whether an enemy is dead or alive? You know. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, really can't recommend both of these kind of retro fueled demos enough. So
nice.
I think we could pretty much wrap up the games talk though this week there, eh guys?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why I got Canadian there for a second. Hey guys,
Hey guys.
We're just going further and further north. We went Michigan a couple weeks ago, and now we're going to Canada.
There you go.
But yeah, as always, you can find all the links and everything at the bottom of the episode description. We're at pursuingpixels.com on the internet. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. Again, the links will be in the episode description, along with any like supplemental stuff or anything to go along with where you can find these games or these demos like I mentioned, or maybe the Picross games and whatnot. So anyways, I'm rambling as always as we wrap up the outro, but thanks for listening, and take care, everybody, and we'll catch you next week. Take care.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
I almost fucking botched that one, but I'll keep it.
You totally, it is charming.
I'll keep it.
You're right.
I started talking Picross, and I was going to start like, because I kept like mentioning, you can check out the demos for the games I talked about, and then I was like, I better mention the games that those guys mentioned.
John also talked
like,
about games.
Yeah, John talked about Picross, I think. John's playing crossword puzzles like a grandpa.
Oh, man, I love fucking crossword puzzles.
They are fun. I'm terrible at them, but they're fun.
When the Chicago Reader was still a daily newspaper, I guess, using the loosest term of newspaper.
Publication.
Yes.
Publication.
When it was a daily periodical,